capacity 8 tons. Speed 300 miles an hour. Maximum range 3,000 miles. Why, Berlin and back is a cinch.
During World War II, the British Royal Air Force took great pride in their bomber jets. But inside, the planes housed another two-winged engineering marvel.
Carrier pigeons ready in their boxes. They're used only if the bomber gets into difficulties.
The Western Allies deployed 250,000 pigeons, and although these birds are today regarded as rodents that plague the skies, they are in fact the most decorated animals in military history, celebrated for their life-saving and top-secret missions, carrying letters like these.
A series of letter groups in classic code, meaningless to the untrained eye.
But like most of our heroes, they have a dark side, beyond just the trash eating. When one of Britain's beloved bombers was shot down in 1942, the crew stranded at sea let loose its onboard pigeon, Winky. Winky found her way back to Scotland, and the British Air Force calculated the time between when she arrived and when the plane went off the radar to find the crew, rescuing them in just 15 minutes. The Air Force awarded Winky with the first ever Dickin Medal, the animal equivalent of a Victoria Cross or the Medal of Honor.
American-made Boston bombers helped turn the tide in Egypt.
The Allies might have turned pigeons into war machines, but they had already been carrying messages around for centuries. Pigeons flying around the desert in ancient Egypt signaled that the next pharaoh had taken over. And the Greeks brought birds from their home villages to the Olympic Games so they could relay event results back to their families. But for as long as humans have known how to use pigeons as messengers, it's still a mystery how it works.
I spent something like 30 years trying to figure out how it is that homing pigeons manage to find their way home. When you take them up to 1,000 miles away from home and let them go, they fly home. And the question is, how do they know where home is?
Experts like Charles Walcott guessed that the bird's superpower might be supersonic hearing, or it could just be having a really good sniffer, or it's possible that they can read the Earth's magnetic field like a map. From Ithaca, New York, Walcott trains birds the same way the military would.
These pigeons that we use are homing pigeons. That is, they have been bred for generations for the ability to fly long distances. And one trains them first by taking the pigeons in a crate and taking them maybe 100 yards or so from the loft and letting them go. And they fly around a little bit and then go and land on the loft and go in and have some food. And then you take them maybe a mile, and then maybe 10 miles, and then maybe 50 miles. And you do that in the cardinal directions. That's what the training is all about. It's simply experience. And I suspect it's learning what the important cues are in the environment and getting used to the landmarks and so on near the loft.
So pigeons ended up becoming battlefield messengers because they were easily trainable, small, and hard to shoot down. That also made them great spies. The CIA recruited pigeons to undertake clandestine missions, photographing the Soviet Union with tiny cameras attached to their necks, and apparently they took clearer photos than the CIA's satellites. So long before Edward Snowden blew the whistle on mass surveillance, we were already being watched by birds. There's even a museum exhibit about the missions of these avian agents at Langley, although the CIA is still so secretive that if you don't have that "I've potentially waterboarded someone" look, you can't get in. Earlier this year in India near the Pakistan border, police caught a bird with a so-called secret code tagged to its leg and claimed it was spying. But the pigeon's owner said he let the bird loose to celebrate Eid, and the code was actually his phone number. All that might just be a misunderstanding, but there are those who've exploited pigeons for some kicks. Placing bets on pigeon racing is a cash cow all over the world. South Africa's 25 years deep into the $1 million pigeon race, where the first place pigeon's owner can pocket $200,000, which might seem like a harmless gamble until you consider that there are a lot of predators a bird can run into during an 8-mile race. The earliest news reports of pigeons as drug runners is from 2008 in Sarajevo, where police reported that 4 inmates who tested positive for drugs brought them in by training the prison's bird flock. The decade since has seen similar stories, some less successful. In Colombia, a pigeon failed to scale a prison wall because it was carrying too much weed and coke. Most recently, a pigeon showed up to a town in Kuwait with a backpack sewed onto its feathers and carrying 178 doses of ketamine. Today, our military officers and black site operators seem to have mostly given up on using these unique birds, and so have we. Maybe drones are easier to spy with and cell phones are faster to talk with, so the pigeon's out of gigs. But if its golden years of employment can teach us anything, it's that the most commonplace animals around us are a lot more skilled and more useful than we might think. And that we use animals like we use people, to fight our endless wars, to hold on to power, and to do our dirty work. And when we're done with them, we only throw them a few crumbs.